How's that?
There we go.
Excellent. Okay, so just as a friendly reminder, we're all here for indoor edible gardening with our instructor, Frank Niccoli. I've had the pleasure of knowing Frank for almost 15 years now, and he actually got me into the wonderful world of horticulture when I took a random sustainable landscaping class on a whim during summer session at Foothill College back in 2009, and it totally changed the trajectory of my life. So it's been my pleasure knowing Frank, so I'm very excited about tonight's class. So moving on to our introductory slides, we will have all of our participants muted by default. We generally encourage questions throughout. So if you feel like having a question, you can either raise your hand or use the chat box at the bottom, and we will look for convenient pauses to go ahead and introduce your questions to our instructor tonight. For those of you unfamiliar with BOSCA, BOSCA represents 26 agencies throughout the South County Peninsula and San Francisco area, serving 1.8 million people. The ultimate goal of BOSCA is high quality supply of water at a fair price. And BOSCA also is involved in many water conservation programs, which were absolutely imperative during our last drought, but regardless of drought, that's their main focus. As far as water use goes, some of you may know that residential water use comprises almost half, if not more than half, of use in our local area. So conserving those resources wherever we can is one of BOSCA's main program objectives. So obviously, water reduction in the landscape is a huge part of that. That said, there are many programs that BOSCA offers and are also their partner Valley Water. Those of you may be familiar with Lawn Be Gone to convert turf and grass in your front or backyard into water-wise garden. And depending on what city you're in the area, you can get a rebate of $1 to $4 per square foot for a lawn to be replaced. It used to be a very complicated process, and they've made it quite a bit simpler. So if you looked into it years past and you thought, wow, this is way too much for me to deal with in terms of paperwork, it's very much streamlined and online now. So I encourage you to look into it again. There are also rain barrel rebates offered through BOSCA, through Valley Water, and also through some individual municipalities. You can get up to $200. I know the city of Santa Clara offers up to $100 for rebate on a rain barrel. And I think Palo Alto might be even more than what's stated here. Some of the additional programs that are coming online, smart controllers help to regulate based on weather-based systems. So it's not as hands-on as it used to be. You kind of have a hands-off approach to your irrigation systems. And there are some pretty significant rebates for depending on how many stations you have in your individual landscape. So those are a nice incentive. And rain gardens also, with all the rainy winter we had this past year, rain gardens basically slow down water in the landscape and help it percolate into the ground instead of flowing out into the gutter and our sewer systems. So you can also plant it up. So it's a beautiful oasis and also achieving those water savings. Valley Water is one of the other agencies I had mentioned that also offers lawn conversion rebates. Their base rate right now is $2 per square foot, but depending on the city you live in within Valley Water's area, there are some that are considerably more than that. The city of Santa Clara is currently offering $4 per square foot for residential customers up to the first 1,000 square feet, which is amongst the highest in the state. So for those of you in Santa Clara, Milpitas and Palo Alto also offer $4 now. It's definitely worth looking into to help get that conversion made. And South Bay Green Gardens, if you're looking into a conversion like that and you haven't checked out this website, they've got some wonderful drafts of landscape plans that you can kind of plug in your own landscape and get some great ideas from them to help you along, and a lot of other great resources as well. Oh, and this is Valley Waters. Thank you. If you're not familiar with Valley Water, please check out their website. They've got a lot of great information as far as what the current restrictions are county-wide for Santa Clara County for conservation. And again, all the rebates that we mentioned a moment ago. BOSCA does offer a lot of seminars throughout the course of fall and spring. We're wrapping up the spring series coming up soon, but we do still have coming up the spring water saving plant selection and a rain garden workshop at the end of this month. So if you haven't already registered and those sound interesting, please visit POSCA's website and go ahead and sign in for those. And lastly, bayareagardening.org has some nice plant resources. Again, if you're looking into lawn conversions or if you're just a plant nerd who wants to learn a little more about different landscapes ideas for the area, go ahead and check them out. And with that, I will stop sharing. There we go. All right. And we will turn it over to our instructor, Frank.
Hello. So a little bit about me. I have been gardening since I was 7. My grandmother taught me how to garden. She was Italian, and of course, one of the first plants that I learned how to propagate was parsley. And so I usually have some parsley growing somewhere in my garden just because of her. I have been doing this a long time. I've been at Foothill College for 25 years, going on 26. And if you're really serious about understanding plants and plant material, come up to Foothill and take some classes. We have a lot of short courses, 4-weekers, pruning, veggies, composting, sustainability, integrated pest management. And then, of course, we have our regular 12 and 13-week classes that include, right now I'm teaching insects, California natives, spring skills, plant installation, and a few other courses. So check out the Foothill College Horticulture Department schedule, and you'll find some great classes. As Victoria said, she just took a class one summer and got hooked and changed her life. That's what plants do. They will change your life. So tonight we're going to talk about growing indoors. And growing indoors is fairly easy, actually. Not everything will grow indoors. And so we're going to look at a sheet that talks about plants. So one time I owned a company and we did veggies as part of our offerings. And what we would do is send out a list of the plants that we thought the clients might like. And then we would grow them for our clients. So we would, a lot of them, we started from seed. From seed, we went into the outdoor garden. But occasionally we did have clients who wanted indoor stuff. And so we grew some of that stuff for indoor. So when we look at this list, not everything on this list will grow indoors. Bok choy will, as well as pak choy and some of the other leafy greens. Cabbage, not so much. Cardoons, nope. Carrots, nope. Cauliflower, nope. Celery, nope. Chard, excellent choice for indoors. Easy to grow, big return on chard. Chard is essentially a vegetable weed and does pretty well. Certain collards will grow indoors. Mustard will grow. Endive, easy one to grow indoors. Fava, no. Fava will not grow indoors. Fennel, garlic, green garlic, nope. Many of your herbs will grow indoors. Basil, tulsi, the Thai basil, these will all grow indoors. Parsley, indoors. Rosemary, not so much. So there's quite a few of the herbs, and we'll look at a bigger list of the herbs in just a minute. Horseradish, nope. Kale, depending on which kale. Kohlrabi and leeks, no. Lettuce, a lot of lettuces will grow quite well indoors. There is one called black-seeded Simpson that is considered one of the better lettuces for indoors. And the reason that I like it so much, it's a cut and come again lettuce. So in other words, you can cut it and it's going to regrow. And you usually start cutting on the outside leaves and take the outside leaves and let the plant regrow. And so there's a lot of the lettuces that we'll look at seed-wise, and I'll let you know which ones do quite well indoors. Nettles, onions, parsnips, peas, peppers, chili, peppers, and potatoes, nope, will not grow indoors. Asian greens do quite well indoors, and I'm going to show you a website in a bit just to show you what you can get Asian green wise. Here's bok choy again, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cardoons, carrots, cauliflower, nope. Celery, sometimes celery works indoors, sometimes it does not. Chard, oh yeah, collards, yes. Corn, no. Cukes, no. Eggplant, no. Endive, yes. Favas, no. Leeks, no, but you can grow chives. You can grow chives in a pot and they do pretty well inside. And I just like to snip them and put them in my salad. Lettuces, yep. Mustards, depending on which one, onions, parsnips, peas, peppers, bell peppers, chili, potatoes, radicchio, so all of these will not grow. Radicchio will. Radish, yes and no. Radish is a 21-day crop. I prefer growing it outside, but yeah, you can grow it inside. Rhubarb, no. Rutabaga, scallions, kind of. Shallots, no. Spinach, yes. Squash, summer squash and winter squash, nope. Sweet potatoes, tomatoes, and turnips, no. Fall harvest, salad greens, bok choy, absolutely. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, nope. Chard again. Chard is an all-year crop. You can grow chard just about all year. Some garlics will grow all right. I prefer the chives, the garlic chives or the onion chives. Leeks, not so much. Yep. Lettuce, yes. Spinach, yes. Beets, carrots, onions, peas, and radishes, not so much. On the winter side, we're down to, of course, chard again. Some collards, chives, absolutely. Cilantro does pretty well inside. Onions, nope. Leeks, nope. Lettuces, yes. Spinach, yes. Scallions and turnips. Scallions, kind of. Turnips, no. So this is just a general list of a lot of the plants that we offered to our clients when I had my company. And we would propagate a lot of these for indoor and for outdoor use. So when we talk about outdoor, there's a couple of books that I want to recommend. There's this book by Jeff Bryant. Let's see, where am I at here? Let me turn my screen. Let's see, what am I doing here? All right, that ought to do it. So this is a book by Jeff Green. Let's see if I can get it.
Blurry.
Yeah, camera's having a hard time picking it up. I'll find it on the internet and I'll show it to you. It's called the Propagation Handbook. It should show up. I don't know why it's not. Let me try this with my camera.
Did you say the author was Jeff Green?
Yeah, Geoff, and his last name was Bryant, Jeff Bryant. Let's see. Yeah, I can't change my background, but this is the book, Propagation. Now it's showing up now. The Propagation Handbook, Basic Techniques for Gardeners. Jeff Bryant, good book. Old book, been around since 1995. And he has a lot of techniques for not only propagating seeds, but for propagating cuttings and such like that. So there's no reason why you can't do those things. He has a very good chapter on pests and diseases in here. And one of the biggest problems with indoor stuff is that occasionally you do have some problems with some pests and diseases. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later, but he's got a nice chapter. It's a shorty, but it's a good chapter. And he talks about how to grow from seeds, etc. He also gets involved with cuttings, how to graft. So this is a good all-around book for propagating. In terms of one of the best books on the market, this is it. This is indoor and outdoor. This is pests of landscape trees and shrubs. This is integrated pest management distilled into a very well-written book. It's put out by the University of California. And this is an excellent book. They're on their 3rd edition right now. Insects, diseases, and problems. It's right here. This is your go-to book. If you take my integrated pest management class, we use that book extensively. If you take my insects class, you will be using that book. So starting seeds indoors is not too tricky. It's a matter of when do I start my seeds? And I'm going to show you a bit of a calendar as soon as I find it. PDF, I don't want that. Here we go. So this is veggie timing, when to start vegetable seeds. And this is just a spreadsheet we put together for figuring out when to sow seeds. Start seeds indoors, direct sow, and transplant. So many seeds you can start indoors and grow them indoors. And so part of what we did with this little spreadsheet is when do we start them? So assuming the last frost in this area is the 28th of February, and the first frost is 17th in November, that's about average for this area. This spreadsheet will just give you an overview of when to sow it, what to sow, etc. So this is a pretty good little spreadsheet that we put together when I was running my company. And it just gives you some ideas about when and where to when to sow. In terms of seed, I want to show you a couple of different things seed-wise. There we go. So these are Jiffy peat pellets. You can find different prices for these particular peat pellets. Amazon's got them. The more you order, the cheaper they are. So if I ordered 500 of them, I get them for $66. And I grow a lot of my veggies indoors. I start them in these peat pots. Essentially, what you're going to get is this little hockey puck. And you soak it in water and it swells up. So this is what it does. So this is what it starts out with, and it swells up. And this is our basic seed starter. I take these kinds of containers, I drop it in there like so. I take a pencil or a chopstick, and I just make a little hole in it like so I can get my seed in, drop my seed in, water it, and then I have a little mini greenhouse. So you can buy these little mini greenhouses so that you can cover your seedlings. And I usually put these in a flat And so there's 6 of these in a flat, and I put this over the flat so that the seed can germinate in a warm, humid environment. And that's the key. Starting seeds indoors gives you an advantage because normally your house is 68, 70 degrees, even in the wintertime. So propagating the seeds in wintertime for spring indoor use is pretty simple. Depending on the type of seed, you're going to get a germination in about 3 to 7 days. That thing should pop up. At that point, you have to be concerned about a couple of things. There is a disease called damping off, and damping off is a fungal disease which essentially cuts the plant in half at the base, and it's a fungus. So the timing as to when you remove this greenhouse top is key. You need to just watch your plants every day and just see what they're doing. Your plants will tell you what they need, what they want to do. What they need at one point is you to remove this cover so that the humidity in the germination area drops, because they need dry air. Once you pull that greenhouse cover off, at that point you will be watering, and you just got to watch your plants to irrigate. As I say, I keep them in a flat, and so I usually look in the bottom of the flat and see what the plant is telling me. If you're really serious about growing plants, then an excellent way to germinate is by using heating mats. And you can get heating mats relatively inexpensively. And essentially, these heating mats are underneath your plants. You're supplying what is called bottom heat, which increases your germination time. It lessens the germination time, and it develops a much stronger plant because it's getting that bottom heat. You don't have to spend a heck of a lot of money on these. And occasionally you can find some used ones that are out there. This hydro farm that theoretically is the best. I don't know exactly what makes it the best, but essentially what you're doing is placing your plants on this heating mat, and it's going to supply a certain amount of temperature so that you can get a quicker germination rate, and your seedlings are going to be much stronger. So these things are relatively inexpensive. I don't know what price this is. I'm going to click on this and see what Amazon tells me. Oh, that's way too expensive. I wouldn't pay $71 for that. That's for damn sure. I would probably go with cheapy. Let's see what this one is. It's still a little bit high. You can find them cheaper. Yeah, here we go. This is way better. This is $13. So this is a iPower seed starting heat mat. Plug it in. It heats up, gives you bottom heat. And this is a 10 by 20. You can get bigger, 20 by 20, but you're going to pay the price for them. So these heat mats help the seedling germinate faster and makes for a much stronger plant. A lot of these have a, you can set the temperature, but quite frankly, that's a little bit too much of a bell and whistle for my taste. Look at the source here. They're saying that it's 100 watts. It warms to 10 to 20 degrees above ambient room temperature. That's about right, because if you're keeping your house at 68 and you're germinating at 88, that's fine. Anything is appreciative for plants. So once you get your plants germinated, then these particular peat pots, these Jiffy peat pots, they run out of nutrients really fast. And so somewhere along the way, you're going to have to feed your plants. The easiest and cheapest way to feed your plants is with fish emulsion. Fish emulsion is essentially fish. You want to dilute. So look at the directions of the fish emulsion on whatever ones you buy. There's a number of brands out there. There's one called Alaska that doesn't smell as bad. You need to understand that once you use fish emulsion, there's a stink factor to it. It's going to smell. When you look at the directions on the fish emulsion container, if it says 1 tablespoon per gallon of water, half that, half a tablespoon per gallon of water, and then just irrigate your plants with that, and you'll see a boost. About 3 days later, you'll see a boost in your plant health. So the key is that you're going to germinate the plant. Make sure you pull the greenhouse cover off so that it doesn't have fungal problems. Irrigate the plant, and then it's going to reach a certain size, and it's going to look like it's going to stop growing. It's stopped growing because it's running out of nutrients. So a seed has enough nutrients in the seed to get the plant out of the seed coat, set a root, and grow 2 leaves. That's what a seed's supposed to do. At that point, it's up to you to feed this thing so that it can grow more leaves, and you want it of a sufficient size so that when you plant it, the root system is well developed and you have a nice set of leaves on the top. And it's really going to depend on the plant that you're growing. So if I was growing chard, for example, I'd want 3 or 4 leaves. And they're going to be tiny. They're not going to be full-size leaves, but I'd like 3 or 4 leaves before I really did anything with them. If I'm setting them outside, definitely need 3 or 4 leaves. Once they reach a certain height, then you transplant out of the peat pots. You don't have to take them out of the peat pots, just transplant the peat pot and everything in some decent soil. The soil mix that you're going to use is going to have a little perlite in it. And the perlite is there for a couple of reasons. Perlite helps the drainage, and you want some good drainage so that the funguses don't attack your plant. And it also will soak up some of the water so that it holds it for the plant to strip it off of the perlite. So you're going to transplant these peat pots once they reach a certain height into your growing pot, whatever that is. Some people use a trough. They'll buy a trough and put all their plants in that. Others just buy individual pots. And by the way, you can buy pots so cheap at the thrift store. If you go to the thrift store, they usually have tons of pots. You can also get used nursery pots. So those black 1-gallon pots, you want to clean them and you want to sterilize them in a 10% solution of bleach to make sure that there's no diseases that are on the pots themselves. But that's a real cheap way to grow plants. If you're growing on your patio, and a lot of people will grow on patio instead of growing indoors, that's a good way to grow them. You can get 1-gallon, 5-gallon, and 15-gallon pots free. Landscape contractors throw those things away. They're not recyclable, so they try to get rid of them as much as possible. So you can usually find them free. I grow my tomatoes in a 15-gallon pot. I like growing tomatoes in that 15-gallon pot because the sun heats up the black on the pot, and tomatoes love that kind of heat. It really booms them up. My tomatoes right now are running about 6 feet tall, and I'm getting tomatoes. So once you get the plant transplanted, 2 or 3 weeks later, you're going to be feeding again. Plants that are grown in containers deplete nutrients quickly. And you don't have to get expensive nutrients. Fish emulsion is everything that a plant needs and loves, other than certain plants that need calcium. If you've got plants that need calcium, well, those are easy. Crunch up some eggshells, run them through a food processor if you've got them, and sprinkle that on the top of your planter, and the plant will pick up that calcium and use it. So my tomatoes are heavy calcium needers. So I just throw in eggshells, or I could buy some oyster shells. If you're growing chickens, a lot of people have chickens and they feed them oyster shells. You can grind that up and use that for your calcium. So we get the plant planted, and then once it reaches a certain size, then we begin to harvest. Depending on what you're growing, you should be able to get a fairly good harvest about once every 2 weeks on indoor growing plants, depending on what you're growing. So I have a number of seed packets here. This one is pot of gold chard. This is designed specifically for indoors. This is Renee's, and I'm going to show you a couple of websites in just a minute, but Renee's grows a lot of indoor stuff. You can get seeds for just indoors. This is a really good chard, and it grows quite well in a indoor container or outdoor. When we talk about indoors, you want bright light. You don't want a lot of direct sun, but bright light is what these plants crave. So this is a good one. This is another Renee's. This is Garden Rainbow. This one will grow indoors. The leaves are bigger than the pot of gold. So the leaves are about twice the size of pot of gold, but they'll both grow indoors quite well. I've got some pak choi here. This is another good one that grows indoors. This is through cornucopia, and it does quite well. Here's another chard. This is called Special Baby Leaf. This grows quite well indoors. And this is a cut and come again. In other words, once you start harvesting this, if you leave the crown, it'll regrow for additional harvest. And this is excellent. This is excellent in salads. You can also fry it with a little garlic and olive oil, whatever. A lot of people like nasturtiums in their salads. Nasturtiums will grow indoors. And so this is a good one. This is Renee's Gardens again. And quite easy to grow, indoors. This one is Alaska mix. Any nasturtium will work. This is a nice nasturtium too. Nasturtiums have a peppery flavor, so they add a little bit of zing to your salad. Here's another Renee's. This is Silver Rib, and this is an Italian variety. Big leaves, big and crunchy. Really a good one. It's excellent steamed with a little bit of lemon, or added to stir fries, soups, casseroles. This is a real good one to grow. Basil also grows quite well indoors, and there's a number of different basils that do quite well. This is one. This is Mammoth. Who's the seed provider here? Oh, this is Burpee. Burpee does some pretty good stuff. The one that I like the best is Thai basil. Tulsi is another good one. And of course, the Genovese, which is a big leaf basil. They do quite well indoors, and you can grow that one even in the winter time. So if you like a little bit of basil in the winter, that's an excellent choice for growing indoors. So one of the keys with growing indoors is making a list of what you want to grow. What is your goal? So Tulsi, by the way, is a Indian basil. A lot of Indian people from India like Tulsi. I think it's also called holy basil. And it's a fairly easy plant to grow, and it does quite well in bright light indoors, although it prefers outdoors, but it does grow indoors. Any of your basils will work. Parsleys have a 21-day germination time. They are slow. And that was one of the things that I learned from my grandmother when she taught me how to grow parsley. I kept going outside to see when it was coming up. And of course, I had no concept of 21 days. I thought you put the seed in and a couple of days later it was there. So I learned patience from her. So parsley is about 21-day germination rate. I'm going to go to some seed sites and just talk about some of those and what they offer. Let's see. Oh, I want to talk about this book too. So this is John Jeavons, How to Grow More Vegetables Than You Ever Thought Possible on Less Land Than You Can Imagine. In this book, he does have some suggestions for indoor plants. John Jeavons is more of an outdoor guy, but a lot of the plants that he talks about, and he in this book, you can grow indoors. This is an outstanding book. It's been translated into I don't know how many languages. This is the go-to book for growing veggies. It's very well written. I'm not sure what printing this one is on right now. It's been reprinted a number of times. I see 5th edition, but I can guarantee you if you get 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th edition, you're going to get a lot of information from this book. This book is packed with information. And the key to this book is that no matter how small the piece of soil that you have, you can grow something in it. That's what this book is all about. And granted, it is basically outdoor stuff, but there are a lot of good tips about indoors. And they have a lot of seed charts, when to grow seeds, how much room the individual plants need. So it's packed with a lot of really good information. One of my favorite seed providers is Seed Savers Exchange. I've been buying seeds from them for quite some time now. And the cool thing about Seed Savers Exchange is that they have an exchange. You can find and share seeds from people all over the world who are growing seeds. So I'm going to just go to veggies. And you can click on something. Let's look for something we can grow indoors. Cress. You can grow cress indoors. So here's garden cress, curly leaves, pungent taste, seeds ripen first week of October. It's coming from Michigan. You can tell this website that you only want plants from a certain area, and it will allow you to do that. Here's Tennessee. Here's wrinkled, crinkled cress, yellow rocket. So you can select plants that are on a Seed Saver exchange and exchange plants with other people personally. And here's a plant that a lot of people don't understand. And it will grow indoors. It's generally considered to be a weed. And the weed, you need to understand who invented that word. and why they invented it. If I were selling chemicals to kill plants, then I might want to disparage the plant so that you'll buy my chemical. So a weed to some persons is edible to others. A weed to certain people is medicine. A lot of these so-called weeds are medicinal plants. If you're an herbalist, then you definitely know about these particular plants. So here's a number of different purslanes. Grows 12 inches tall. It's a good salad plant. Here's gold gelber. Here's gold gelber. Here's common purslane. This is probably a common purslane. It's edible. It's really delicious. And it's easy to sell the seeds, or save the seeds, not sell them. And will grow indoors. So there are a number of different plants that you can grow from a seed saver. Here's arugula. Here's a bunch of different arugulas. Arugula is bulletproof. Arugula grows everywhere. That's one of the reasons that arugula is so cheap in the grocery store, because it just grows like crazy. This is an interesting one. This is Enrico Rao. They got the plant from the family of Enrico Rao, or Rick Rao. He got the seeds in 1983 from his grandmother. He immigrated to the U.S. from Sicily. He was drafted into the army, wounded in World War II. So there's usually a history of where the seeds come from. This one is a very interesting one. This is wasabi arugula. If you like a spicy arugula, this is the one to get. It's very easy to grow. It's great in salads. A lot of people use it in sandwiches. It's just a really good plant. It will bolt quickly. So when they say a plant will bolt, it will try to go to seed quickly. And so your job growing these particular plants is to determine how much you want and keep the seed stocks at a minimum. Do not allow it to go to seed, because it will bolt. So this wasabi arugula is a real good one to grow. This one is a better one to grow indoors, the slow bolt or arugula. This one is a really nice arugula. And it's fairly easy to grow. I want to go back to the main website and talk about some of the seeds that you can get at Seed Savers. So Seed Savers, herbs and spices, we'll go into this. Anise, yeah, kind of will grow inside. Basil, absolutely. Let's look at the different kinds of basils that you can get. So this is an interesting one. This is the African Newnham basil. It is a different flavored basil. It has a little bit of an oregano flavor to it, and it's got a little spiciness to it. I'm growing some outdoors right now. It makes a very good pesto. And so you can get these. This is a really good one for indoors. This is Angostino Genovese basil. It's shorter than the regular Genovese basil, does quite well indoors, and it's fairly easy to grow. I haven't grown this one indoors, but I don't think there'd be a problem with it. This is a cocoa mesa, and it came out of Ghana. And it was, it seems like a fairly good basil to grow. I haven't tried it yet. Here's Italian basil. Here's cinnamon basil. You can get lemon basil. Here's holy basil, Tulsa. Really a good tea herb. This will grow indoors. Don't know this one. This is a Russian variety of basil. Don't know this one. Italian large leaf. Yeah, absolutely. It will grow indoors. And here's a lemon basil. This is a really good basil, especially if you eat fish. This is a very nice one to grow and use for a fish. Mrs. Burns level. Yeah, here it is. Use it with fish, chicken, and vegetables. Nice lemony pesto. And this is a pretty good one. Opal is a good one. Purple is a good one. Sweet basil again. And then we get to the next page. Tony Scavo. This is a pretty good basil that will grow indoors. And then, of course, if you like the Thai sweet basils, very good. I've grown this one indoors without too much of a problem. I've never grown this one. So I don't know that one at all. So these are some of the basils that you can get. And of course, you can check the list over here if you're looking for a specific one. You can also check if you just want seed from California. I'm not too picky about where the seed's coming from. I'm looking for good quality seed. And most of the people that are on this Seed Savers exchange grow good quality seeds. And if you don't want to go through the exchange, you can always buy seeds from Seed Savers. I'll be going to there in just a minute. Let me go back to some of the vegetables. So these are some of the vegetables that you can get. And Asian greens do quite well indoors. And you can look at this particular list and decide what you want. So here's a pak choy mustard. Gets a little on the large side, 2 feet. That might be one that I would stay away from indoors. But there are some of the smaller ones. Yeah, here's one here, 8 to 12 inches. Cabbage, nope, won't work. But some of these greens do quite well. Here's a pot herb mustard, grows indoors. It's not real bitter. It's a nice one. Purple choy sum, Shanghai green pak choy. It's a smaller, compact pak choy. Will do quite nicely indoors. So you can see that there's a lot of different kinds of pak choy, bok choy, and then here's tatsoi. This is a nice one. This will grow indoors. It's a cut and come again plant, and does quite well indoors. Let's see. Let me go back. Beans, beets, broccoli, nope. Brussels sprouts, nope. No cabbages, no carrots. Celery. So there's some of the smaller celery that you can try to grow indoors. Many people cut the root off of celery that they buy at the farmer's market and put it in a pot, and it will reroot. Sometimes that will work indoors, but it is always better to get plants that will grow indoors that are smaller. So this one is a smaller one, although they say it's 30 inches. Some of these celeries will do okay indoors. Yeah, this one is 18 inches tall, cutting celery. That would be one that I would go for. This French celery is too big. So these are your celeries. Cress, of course, we looked at that. Here's chives. A lot of people forget about chives. There are a number of different flavors. Here's the garlic chives. Here's onion chives. And these do really well inside. They're also really pretty plants inside. And you're just tip cutting these when you're using them in salads, or if you're using them in scrambled eggs, for example. They're a nice addition in scrambled eggs and such stuff like that. See anything else here? I've never tried horseradish indoors. I'm curious about it, but I don't know, may try it. Lots of lettuces. Oh my goodness. You're gonna find quite a bit of lettuce. Pick one and try it. The seeds are usually fairly inexpensive, and you can see how many lettuces that are out there. And I'm only on the A's. And look how many pages there are. There's 19 pages of lettuces. One of the nice things about this website is on a blustery winter day when it's raining like crazy outside, it's just nice to sit down at this website, pour yourself a cup of tea, cup of coffee, and just look at the different things that you can grow. It's very exciting to figure out what lettuce you want to grow or try. And most of these will grow indoors. I'm just real curious. Let's just see what number 19 has. Oh, Zwart Duets, of course. So this is a butterhead lettuce, well-developed head, green, obovate leaves, highly blistered, smooth leaf margin, 7 inches tall by 14 inches in diameter. This will grow indoors. So if you're curious about it, try it. Is it a cut and come again? It doesn't say that. So you may get 1 or 2, but why not? Then reseed. Try another lettuce. Let's see what number 17 holds for us. Summertime. Probably won't grow indoors. Here's an oak leaf lettuce. This is a Swiss oak leaf. 6 inches by 7 inches wide. Definitely will grow indoors. Good one to try. I'm very curious about this one. Frankling, never have heard of it. I wouldn't mind trying it. Tango, Tanya, tennis ball. Well, I think I would try this one just as a novelty. Thai lettuce, sure, why not? 3-hearted butterhead, probably wouldn't go with that. Leaf lettuces do so much better in indoors. Butterhead, here's a loose leaf Valeria. I would definitely try this one. 6 inches tall, 9 inches wide. Attractive plants, bitter flavor. Well, of course, add a nice dressing to this, and definitely. So these are all your lettuces, and there are a lot of them. Here's your spinach. This is a Malabar spinach. The Malabar spinach has a tendency not to bolt. Spinach will bolt, and bolt quickly, especially if it's warm. So here's a Malabar climbing. I might try this inside, but I think I would more than likely go with a red Malabar spinach and just see what this does. Oh, we have a praying mantis here. So I wouldn't mind trying this one and just see what it does indoors. Alliums, lots and lots of alliums. And a lot of these will grow indoors. Let's see. Melon, onion. Some of the smaller chili peppers will work indoors. They prefer outdoors, but there's a few of them that will grow in pots. And it's worth a try. They don't take up a lot of room, especially some of the smaller ones. And if you like peppers, there's quite a few to choose from. Let's see how many pages. Oh, only 43. In 43 pages, I'm sure you'll find a few that will grow indoors. And why not be the trendsetter and try some of these and see what they do? Peppers traditionally need a lot of heat, a lot of sun. But if they get a lot of bright light, they're going to produce something. Okra, onions, parsnip, peas. Let's see what we have here. Sorghum, sorrel. Sorrel is a lemon-based plant, leafy, 8 to 10 inches, definitely will grow indoors. Sorrel has a lemon flavor. We used sorrel a lot before we figured out what lemons were. Sorrel was around before lemons. I think that's about all on the exchange side. On the seed side, at Seed Savers Exchange, you can also buy all types of seeds that will grow indoors. Another great place is Renee's. Renee's has a ton of different seeds. These are just her Asian vegetables. And a lot of these will grow indoors. Of course, you can't do cabbage, carrots, and such. But many of these will grow quite nicely. Here's a stir-fry blend, definitely will grow indoors. Cut and come again, mustards, yep, that'll work. Stir-fry mix, yep. Spicy greens, sure. Mild mustards. I'm not sure about this one. I've never grown it. It's this rosette tatsoi. And she has 3 pages of the Asian greens. One of the best seed companies locally is Kitazawa. They're out of Oakland. And I like to support local companies that do good things. And these people do good things. They have some stunning seeds in their mixes for both indoor and outdoor. And so I can go to the seed index, and it's rather lengthy. And so pick something and try it. Obviously, you can't grow the bush beans and such indoors, but look at all the baby leaf mustard seeds. Here's Central Red Mizuna. Here's Crimson Red Hybrid, Crimson Tide, Golden Frill, Golden Streak. If you are into different flavors and want different colors and you want to experiment with your eating, I would definitely go after a lot of these. Look at all the mustard seeds. Some great stuff in here. Onion seeds. Look at all the great onion seeds that you could grow indoors. And a lot of these will grow indoors, especially the bunching onions. Borage will grow indoors. Now, I don't recommend borage because it can get out of control. It would probably take root in your hardwood floor if it got away. Pak choy. Look at all the pak choy you could grow. I mean, my goodness. Here's some of the green stem pak choy, white stem pak choy, parsleys. Look at all the parsleys. This is wonderful. I mean, this to me is just choices. And as I say, sit down with a cup of coffee and peruse these things during the winter on a stormy day. And Kitazawa is a great one for excellent seeds, both indoor and outdoor. And many of these that I have never tried before, many of them I have tried. And price-wise, they're rather reasonable. I want to go to some of their, yeah, here we go, arugula. I can get arugula. Let's see how many seeds they're giving me. An ounce of seeds. And I'm going to pay $5.01. An ounce of seeds, I'm only going to get 14,200 seeds for $5.01. That seems like a pretty good deal to me. How many seeds am I getting in 25 pounds? Just curious about that. 172 $172 for 25 pounds. And I'm getting 14,000 seeds an ounce. That's a lot of seeds. So this is just one example of how inexpensive it is to grow seeds indoors or outdoors. I really enjoy growing seeds. This is a microgreen. They call it a microgreen. And microgreens grow indoors. Germination time 4 to 5 days. Full of flavor, full of spice. The ideal for those growing microgreens, harvest in just a few days. So you could be growing these all year round. I mean, you've got 14,000 seeds. I mean, share these with your neighbors, for goodness sakes. There's no way that you're going to eat that many. And if you're into sprouting, sprouting is another nice way to grow seeds. So you can get sprouting seeds. I'm just going to go here to a website that I know.
Can I interrupt for a moment, Frank? And
Sure.
Would you mind explaining, elaborating a little bit more about microgreens? We had a question in the chat. How do microgreens work?
So essentially, you're growing a bunch of these microgreens in a small amount of space, and you're just clipping them off and using them as an accent in a salad, for example. So it's not your main salad, but it's adding it to another type of green like spinach or romaine lettuce, just as another accent. You can also use a microgreen if you're into making breakfast drinks or making herbal drinks. So these are excellent to add in. A lot of people will grow wheatgrass for that same reason. You can throw these in for a little kick in your drinks, breakfast drinks or lunch drinks, whatever you're doing. So this is Sheepers, John Sheepers, and they sell sprouting seeds. These grow really well indoors. Essentially what you're doing is getting a jar, and I recommend a Kerr jar, and putting some cheesecloth over the opening, and you're just wetting these. You soak them usually for a day or so, and then dump the water out, and then once a day rinse them, and they'll sprout. So here's alfalfa sprouting seed. Let's see how much you get here. 70,000 seeds for $7.45. They harvest in 5 to 6 days. So you're just getting little plants to use in your salads, to enhance your diet. Here's radish sprouting seeds. Let's see what they're giving you here. 10,000 seeds for $7.75. Did I answer that question, or did I dance around it?
No, I think you addressed it. Thanks.
Yeah, well, sometimes I dance around things. 55,000 seeds of this curly cress for sprouting, $7.75. So this is another method for sprouting. All you've got is a container here. You punch some holes in it. They're using some paper towels, dampened paper towels in a deep tray or dish. Cover it with plastic wrap to conserve moisture, and this stuff will germinate. So they're saying those plastic clamshell salad containers work well. Well, sure, instead of throwing them in the garbage can, use them to sprout. And Sheepers has got some good stuff. Sheepers also has excellent bulbs. If you're looking for bulbs for the outdoors, Sheepers is one of the better ones. Let's see what other sprouting seeds. Mung bean, pea shoot seeds, fenugreek, broccoli, black oil sunflower. So there's about 8 or 10 seeds that you can grow for sprouting indoors. This is a real quick way to get a crop, because you're going to get a crop in 5 or 6 days. And if you continue growing these. So you would harvest your crop, have another one already started. And why not vary it? You know, throw different seeds in the same jar. So throw some radish seeds in with the alfalfa or the curled cress in with others. So experiment a bit on sprouting. There are a number of different seed companies out there that offer different kinds of seeds. This is a wild arugula that will grow indoors. And it's a non-GMO. It's planted year-round, excellent in salads, makes a really good pesto. So instead of using basil in your pesto, if you want a lighter pesto, use arugula or use half basil and half arugula, and then squeeze some lemon in there for a little bit lighter and not so much of a heavy basil kick. Some people don't like that heavy basil. I happen to like it. Well, I'm Italian, so you know, I happen to like that basil. So these are arugula. Pitazara has got a number of different seeds that do quite well. Here's majorum that will grow indoors. Lovage I've never grown indoors, but I wouldn't mind trying it. Oh, they're sold out. Well, see what else is going on. So we're late in the season, so a lot of these seeds are going to be gone. I'm just seeing if there's anything of interest here. I would not try mugwort. I've never tried it, but I don't think I would try it. Let's see what else is here. Okay, all right. Anyway, back to Renee's. So Renee has a number of different types of seeds. So this is a really good mix. This is what she calls come and cut again, and it's baby leaf sampler. These will absolutely grow indoors. So this is a really nice baby leaf lettuce, some heirloom greens, some signature salads. Let's just see what she's calling this, a wine country mescaline. And it's usually a mix. Yeah, sweet red and green lettuces with some tangy greens mixed in. So this is a real good one to grow indoors. And there you go. Excellent mix. So Renee does have some good ones. Cutting lettuce, sea of red, baby leaf spinach. Remember with the spinach is as it grows hotter, this is going to try to go to seed or bolt. Here's your mild mustard mixes, does quite well indoors. Container baby leaf lettuce. This is a nice one.
Frank, we actually had a question from the chat. Do you know if Florida giant mustard grows well indoors?
I've never tried it, but if you have a large enough container, I don't see why it wouldn't. You need bright light with mustards. Definitely so. So this is a nice one. Spinach and some of these greens like shade. So these are really good for indoor growing, and you get a lot from these. They're growing outdoors, but these should grow indoors quite nicely. Let's see what else she's got here. I like Renee. She's a very good grower. She's sustainable. She doesn't do GMOs. I'll show you another little way to save some money in just a minute. Pan Pacific greens, heirloom greens, and some of her signature salads. She has these bonus packs. And these bonus packs are a good way to get a lot in a pack. So, for example, here's the Three Sisters garden. The corn, beans, and squash. Three Sisters, there's actually four sisters. These do not grow in nature if you went hiking in the forest, you would not see the three sisters. You are the fourth sister. You are necessary to put the three sisters together. So when you talk about a three-sister garden, it's actually a four-sister garden, because you are the fourth sister. Let's see, mustards. Here's wheatgrass for juicing. This is definitely a indoor plant. You get a ton of seeds for $2.75. Right now with Renee's, everything is half price. So she is selling out all of the 2023 seeds for half price. And so this is an excellent time to get seeds. When we talk about seeds, as the seeds age, they lose germination. So by law, all of these seed packets have to have a germination rate written on them. So this one has a germination rate of 82%, which means that out of 100 seeds, 82 germinated. And this is going to drop each year that I have this, especially if I don't store it properly. That means that if I buy different seeds from Renee's, yes, there is going to be a slight drop in germination rate, but it's not going to be significant. You're going to get something, and you're probably going to get a lot of it. Got kitties? Here's a gourmet greens cat treat. Absolutely will grow indoors, and cats just love this stuff. They go nutso crazo for it. So Renee's is doing her half price. Yeah, here it is, 50% off all seed packets. So this is an excellent time to take advantage of some of these bargains. That being said, Seed Savers Exchange also does a special, and I always have a hard time finding it, but let's see if I can find it.
And could you speak a little bit about how to properly store seeds? That was another question that popped up.
Oh, yeah. The proper way to store seeds is make sure that they're dry. Absolutely. Protect them from mice and rats because they will chew into the seeds and eat them. And you want to store them in a refrigerator. So make sure that they're nice and dry. If you've got those little packets that you sometimes get that with a drying agent, what's it called? I can't remember.
Silica.
Yeah. Just put that in with your bag of seeds, put them in a plastic bag, store them in Mr. Fridge so they don't, they are cool, and you'll have a higher germination rate. With Seed Savers Exchange, they have a opportunity for, I think it's this. So for schools, nonprofits, etc., you can apply, especially for community and educational groups who really share their harvest. They'll give you a deal. So for $15, they'll give you 50 seed packets. You can't choose. They're going to give you whatever they've got. But you get some great stuff. At Foothill College, we take advantage of that. So we'll send them $15, and a lot of the students will do it 2 or 3 or 4 times. So we'll send them $60, $80, and we get like 200 seed packets. And that is a real cool deal from Seed Savers. So you want to support these people. They're trying their darndest to give you good quality seeds at a reasonable price. And these guys guarantee their stuff. They're really good. And you can grow a lot of their seeds indoors. And if you do have have questions, you can email them. They have a contact button down here, or call them. They actually answer the phone. I've called them a couple of times, especially when my password doesn't work from my for this site, and they're very helpful. They're in Iowa, I believe it's Iowa, and they're around 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time. Oh yeah, they're Clara, Iowa. Great company, good people. They've been around a while. About us, our mission: we conserve and promote America's culturally diverse but endangered garden and food crop. So they also support by sending seeds to the vault. There's a seed vault. It's overseas. Well, there's actually 4 of them. And they send a lot of their seeds over there free. They go into a vault that is temperature controlled, and it's sealed, and it is to preserve a lot of these seeds in case there's a natural disaster. Okay. Any other questions, concerns, problems, issues?
I do have a couple questions. Somebody asked what your take is of purchasing seeds from Home Depot.
I don't.
What would be your reasoning for that?
Gosh, I don't like Home Depot.
In that kettle of worms.
Yeah, I don't like Home Depot. I don't like his politics. I don't like it. I prefer to support mom and pop ventures. I want to. I just don't want to give more money to a rich guy. I mean, I'm nothing against him or anything like that. I just don't support. And do I buy stuff at Home Depot? Yeah, I was there Tuesday. But I wouldn't buy seeds from there. I'd buy seeds from some of the more reputable, and there's a lot of more reputable people than Home Depot. So nothing personal. I personally wouldn't buy Home Depot.
And another person asked whether you had some good varieties of kale. You had mentioned some kales are tough to grow indoors, but do you have some good ones that you could recommend?
Kale?
Kale, yes.
Yeah, Renee's has some good kale seeds, if I remember. Let's see, where's Renee's? No, here's Renee's. She does have some good kale. Let me search kale, and it's half price right now. Yeah, here we go. So this baby leaf Tuscan will grow indoors. This is a small one, 15 inches tall. So a lot of these kales will do quite well. Here's an Italian variety, Mars Landing. I've never tried this one, but I imagine it would grow. I'm not fond of dinosaur kale. It just looks wrong to me. So there's quite a few of these kales that will work quite well indoors. Purple Moon, I've never tried it. Let's see how tall it gets. Oh, 12 to 18. I would definitely take a chance on this indoors and see what it does. So yeah, quite a few real good kales out there if you're into kale. I'm not a big kale guy. I don't know. I just don't eat a lot of kale. Other questions?
That wrapped it up for the questions in the Q&A. I don't see any others coming in.
Alrighty. Well, make sure that you guys understand one thing about growing plants and adhere to the honorable harvest. Part of what the honorable harvest says is that When you take the life of a plant, make sure you ask the plant for permission. Introduce yourself. Ask the plant for permission before you harvest. Sometimes the plant is going to say no, and so you walk away. That plant, the first harvest, does not belong to you. You take the first harvest and give it away. You're allowed to take every harvest after that. The last harvest does not belong to you. That is when you produce seed so that you can keep that plant propagated. So remember a few of the concepts of the honorable harvest. You're taking a life when you cut these plants, and so you need to make sure that you honor that life in some manner. Have some respect for the plants that are nourishing you. Plants are amazing in that they make their own food for themselves. We cannot do that. We cannot make our own food. We rely on plants to nourish us. And so respect that relationship, and make sure that it's a relationship of reciprocity. Give back to the plant that is nourishing you. That's all I have.
Well, thank you, Frank. That was awesome. I took a lot of good notes aside from what I put in the chat. Bosco is generally very good about posting the recordings later, and you can also reach out on their website with questions after the event.
All righty.
Have any questions tonight? Thank you, Frank, for a wonderful talk.
Well, thank you for hosting me, Victoria, and keeping the lights on in Zoom.
Great.
Not an easy task.
Oh, it looks like one other question just popped up. Oh,
Sure.
and thank you for such an amazing session. This has been the best so far. So
Yeah, I'm here all week. Tip your waitresses.
good night, everyone. Thanks for attending.
Good night.
Bye-bye.